Today in Awesome Stories, we are going to talk about a survival horror film called The Shallows. Spoilers ahead. We start at a remote beach where a boy plays soccer. Along the shores, he sees a surfer's helmet and picks it up. The helmet is destroyed, but there's a GoPro camera on it. The boy sees the camera footage of two surfers having fun. Suddenly, one of the surfers starts asking for help, but he's attacked by a shark. The boy runs out of the beach taking the helmet with him. In a pickup truck, we meet Nancy and Carlos. Nancy smiles while scrolling to pictures of a woman on the beach. Carlos asks who the woman is and Nancy tells him that's her mother. Her mother came to the beach after finding out that she was pregnant with her. Carlos says that if she keeps looking at the phone, she will not see the real world. Nancy receives a message from her friend that she's not going to the beach with her, making her upset. Nancy asks Carlos the name of the beach, but he ignores her. They get to the beach and Carlos tells her that the place is a paradise. Nancy looks at the ocean and sees that two guys are already surfing. Carlos gives Nancy her surfboard and she tries to thank him with some money. He denies it and tells her that he lives close to the beach, so it wasn't a problem. Carlos is curious how she will leave the beach because it is going to get dark in a few hours. She thanks him and dismisses the question. Trying to get the name of the beach, she tells Carlos she forgot it, but he doesn't fall for it. On the beach sands, Nancy starts to prepare herself to surf, while observing the other surfers having fun. Happy, she enters the waters and starts pedaling to the ocean. While avoiding the waves, she gets where the other surfers are. They ask her where she's from and she tells them she's from Texas. They are curious to know how she found the secret beach. Nancy says that someone she knew told her, but she doesn't know the name of it. They laugh and also don't want to tell her. She asks about the dangers of the beach and they say to avoid the rocks and the fire corals. They notice the waves coming, prompting them to surf and have fun. Nancy gets out of the ocean to rest and goes through her mother's pictures while she was fighting cancer. Her sister calls her and Nancy shows her the beach. Her sister is worried that she's alone, but she says not to worry. Suddenly, her dad appears, but Nancy doesn't want to talk with him. Her dad wants her to come home and finish med school, but Nancy doesn't want to talk about it. She is sad that her mom passed away after fighting a lot to stay alive. Her dad wants to continue med school and fight like her mother, but she's not sure. She tells her dad that she doesn't know when she's coming home and hangs up. She returns to the ocean and starts surfing. The other surfers go back to the beach and invite her to come with them, but she wants to catch the last wave. She's startled by something moving around her, but when it comes closer it's just a few dolphins passing by. Nancy starts swimming and sees a rotting whale being eaten by seagulls. Trying to get away from the whale, she catches the next wave, but is dropped by a gray-white shark. When she's swimming to her surfboard, the shark bites her leg, making her scream in pain. Nancy comes to the surface and rapidly swings to the whale. After climbing on the dead whale, she tourniquets her leg using the surfboard strap, stopping the blood loss. She sees the surfers leaving the beach and starts screaming, trying to get their attention. The car stops, but the surfers are too distracted to see her and keep going. The shark bangs on the whale, almost making Nancy fall off of it. Nancy starts looking for a place to run. She sees a nearby buoy, but it's too far. She also sees a rock close by and swims to it before the shark hits the whale again. Getting to the rock, she stomps on fire corals, burning her foot. Nancy gets up and sees that she's alone with a wounded seagull and will have to wait for help. Seeing that the bite on her leg is too deep, uses her jewelry to put rudimentary stitches in place to hold her torn flesh together. At night, she wakes up from the cold and notices that her leg is starting to gangrene. She rips one of the sleeves of her jacket and wears it back to protect herself from the cold. She opens the tourniquet to give her leg some blood flow. After closing the tourniquet, she uses the ripped-out sleeve as a compression bandage on her leg. Hungry, she tries to eat a little crab, but spits it out disgusted by it. She sees that the shark is not around and tries to get to her surfboard. But before getting to it, the shark reappears, making her go back to the rock. She sees a drunk man on the beach and tries to get his attention. He sees her and waves back at her. She tells him to go to her backpack and get her phone. Instead of calling for help, he steals her phone and her backpack. Trying to steal her surfboard, the man enters the water, despite Nancy's warnings. Nancy is shocked seeing that the shark torn the man in half. In the morning, the two surfers come back to the beach and enter the ocean. Nancy wakes up and tells them to get out of the water. They tell her that there's no shark there, but one of them decides to get help. All of a sudden, he's attacked by the shark, prompting his friend to swim towards Nancy. After submerging, he appears behind the rock asking Nancy for help. When she tries to get him, the shark kills him, leaving behind just a pool of blood. After hours waiting, Nancy sits on the rock. She sees that the seagull has a dislocated wing and fixes it. With high tide approaching, Nancy realizes the rock will be submerged soon. She sees one of the GoPros that the surfers were wearing and makes a plan to retrieve it. She sees the shark and circulates the whale and the rock, giving her time to get to it. She swims to the rock close by the helmet, but when she tries to get to it, she falls from the rock. As soon as the shark is far enough, she tries a second time and succeeds. All of a sudden, the shark appears behind her. Startled, she falls on the water and is able to get to the rock again. Reviewing the camera footage, she sees that the shark has a large hook stuck in its mouth after a possible encounter with fishermen. Nancy uses the GoPro to leave information about the shark attack and her location. She also leaves a message to her dad and sister promising that she will fight to survive like her mom did. With the tide rising fast, she decides to send the seagull toward the shore on a piece of surfboard and swim to the buoy. On the way to the buoy, she sees a group of jellyfish and uses it as cover. With the shark on her tail, she gets to the buoy and climbs it, barely getting away from being bitten. Far away, she sees a ship and thinks of a way to get its attention. She finds a flare gun, but the shells fall in the water, making them wet. She fires a shot trying to get the ship's attention, but it's useless. On the beach, the boy, Miguel, finds the helmet and sees Nancy's message to get help. Back on the buoy, the shark bangs on it trying to get Nancy off of it. Mad, she fires a flare hitting the gray white. The shark keeps attacking the boy, but Nancy holds on to it. Seeing that the shark is covered in the oil from the whale carcass, she fires another shot lighting it on fire. Clearly angry, the shark attacks the boy and rips out one of the chains securing it to the ocean bed. Now in the water, Nancy has only the grills of the boy to protect herself. The shark attacks her again, but the hook in its mouth gets stuck. Nancy straps herself on the remaining chain and waits for it to rip from the boy. She takes out the tourniquet from her leg, letting blood be spilled on the water. The shark frees himself and almost bites Nancy, but she's saved by the falling chain. Nancy gets pulled to the ocean floor, pursued by the shark. At the last moment, Nancy pulls out of the dive and the shark impales itself on some rebar from the boy's anchor. Miguel gets to the beach with his dad, Carlos, showing him where he found the camera. Carlos sees a body on the shore, but Miguel tells him that there is someone on the water. He pulls Nancy out of the water and she wakes up relieved that she's alive. A few years later, Nancy is now a doctor, back at another beach with her dad and her sister. Her dad tells her that her mom would be proud of her. Joking about her swimming skills, Nancy and her sister go to the ocean to surf. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like. It really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.